I welcome you all to this episode of Philosophy Lectures, which I share from my channel, Philosophy Lectures with Professor Tunde Akanyi. In today's episode, we shall be discussing the topic titled, What is Philosophy? What is philosophy? Because this lecture is a bit long, I'm going to break it down into parts. So what we shall have here today is the part 1 of this lecture. So we're going to be talking about what is philosophy part 1 now. So what is philosophy? Whenever you are confronted with the challenge of defining philosophy, the first point that should come to your mind is that philosophy does not have a univocal definition. What that means is that philosophy does not have a universally acceptable definition. In other words, it does not have a definition that is acceptable across board. A number of reasons is responsible for this. One of them is that philosophy is so broad. Philosophy is so broad and all-encompassing that it is difficult to find a single definition that is able to capture its essence, that is able to conceptualize it in such a way that everything that it incorporates is captured. This is so because every other discipline you can think about is regarded as a branch of philosophy. This was particularly so, especially at the beginning of intellectual development. I say so because now a number of disciplines appear to have gained independence from philosophy. I say appear to have gained because the so-called independence is more apparent than real. In other words, these disciplines have not really completely severed relationship from philosophy or with philosophy. In the midst of the apparent independence they seem to have gotten, they are still appendages of philosophy even up till now. That is why they are still regarded as branches of philosophy. And so, because of this all-embracing, all-encompassing nature of philosophy, it is very difficult to find a single definition that is able to conceptualize it in all its essence. This also explains why when you study any discipline up to doctoral level, you are awarded a degree known as Doctor of Philosophy. This is because every other discipline is regarded as a branch of philosophy. If you study chemistry, you study biology, you study mathematics, you study physics, astrology, and any other discipline up to doctoral level, you are awarded a degree known as Doctor of Philosophy, which means that you are a Doctor of Philosophy in that discipline. So if you do chemistry up to doctorate level, you are awarded a degree known as Doctor of Philosophy in Chemistry, and so on and so forth for every other discipline. So because every other discipline is regarded as a branch of philosophy, it is difficult to conceptualize it in one single way such that it is acceptable to all across board. And this is also why philosophy is regarded as the mother of all disciplines, because at the end of the day, every discipline is regarded as a branch of philosophy. So because of this reason, it is difficult to find a single definition that is able to capture the essence of philosophy. Okay, that's one reason why philosophy does not have a univocal definition. Another reason why it does not have a univocal definition is because there are so many philosophers, and each of them tries to define philosophy from his or her own perspective. So, because of this again, it is difficult to find a universally acceptable definition for philosophy. So, what you find in the attempt to define philosophy is a multiplicity of definitions. So, you find philosophy being defined in a number of ways, and each way being explained to show that it actually does not have a univocal definition. Okay, so what we are going to be doing in this lecture is to expose you to these various ways in which philosophy has been defined. As you can see, philosophy is a unique course. It's not like every other discipline, because every other discipline is easily defined. It can be straightforwardly defined as this or as that, but you can already begin to see the uniqueness of philosophy in your very first contact with the discipline, such that even in the attempt to define it, you are being told that it does not have a univocal definition. So this is one of the things that makes it unique. Okay, so what are those various ways in which philosophy has been defined? Like I said, what we are going to do in this lecture is to expose you to the various definitions that have been given to philosophy and to explain or analyze them one after the other. Okay, so the earliest way in which philosophy was defined is to say that philosophy is the love of wisdom. That philosophy is the love of wisdom. Okay, philosophy has also been defined as a rational search to answers to questions, that arise in our minds when we reflect on the human experience. Philosophy has also been defined as a search for rational answers to questions that arise in our minds when we reflect on the human experience. Okay? It has also been defined as a critique of the ideas by which we live. Philosophy has also been defined as a critique of the ideas by which we live. Okay? Related to this definition, it has also been defined as thinking on thinking or thought on thought. Okay? It has also been defined by some scholars as the search for truth, the search for truth, the search for the ideal life, the search for the ideal way of living, and so on and so forth. So, as you can see, philosophy has been defined in various ways. Because I do not want any of these videos to be too long, I'm going to break them down into parts. So this is part one of this lecture. In subsequent lectures, I'm going to take on each of these definitions and explain them one after the other. So in our next lecture, I'm going to take on the definition of philosophy as the love of wisdom and analyze why and how philosophy is defined as the love of wisdom. If time permits, we shall explore more definitions, than what I have pointed out in this lecture, so that you will see for yourself that philosophy does not actually have a univocal definition. So, let me pause here for today while I allow you to reflect on what I've said so far. Like I said, in my next lecture, I'm going to talk about the definition of philosophy as the love of wisdom. I'm going to devote a separate video for that, and after that, I will devote a separate video for the definition of philosophy as a critique, as a search for rational answers to questions that arise in our minds. I'm going to devote a special video to the definition of philosophy as a critique of the ideas by which we live. I'm going to devote a special video to the definition of philosophy as the search for truth, as the search for the ideal life, and so on and so forth. So stay tuned till I come your way in the next video. Is bye for now.